Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. The Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. We are rejoined by staff writer from the Washington Commanders, Mr. Zach Selby, who is stuck in traffic but is still joining us all the way from his car. Thank you so much, Zach. How are you doing this evening?
I've been better considering I'm in Beltway traffic. For everyone who's listening, don't pod and drive. Do not try this at home. But
when traffic on the Beltway.
Look, whenever y'all tell me to come on a pod, I gotta do what I need to do.
That's when the state trooper pulls you over, Zach, make sure you tell him that. All right.
Say excuse me, sir.
Maybe we can have him on the pod too.
Say excuse me, sir. Have you heard of the Burgundy zone? And he's going to say, have you heard of the no cell phone zone? And then he's going to arrest you, and you're going to be like, damn,
that was
wow,
good.
Arrest for a cell phone? That's pretty harsh.
Hey, man, it's Trump's
That's
America,
Virginia
baby.
for you.
You know?
But
Yeah,
Selby,
big facts, actually. Yeah.
Selby, you just came out with an article the other day. You had an interview, and you talked to the new quarterback coach, Tavita Pritchard. And everyone has been kind of concerned. What is his mindset? What is he thinking in regards to the quarterback position? So if you can, please educate us on what that interview was like, how Coach Tavita was in interviewing him, and what did you learn?
Well, first of all, the guy he seems like he's just so smart, so intelligent. I can definitely see why the enemy likes him a lot, just because they have a lot of same philosophies and mindsets. So there's that. But I also think the biggest thing we talked about was Sam Howell in the quarterback room, and he really thinks that they're obviously going to compete, although Sam is going to get every opportunity to be the starter. He really thinks that they've got two bona fide options at quarterback. And, that's a pretty good situation for Washington to be in, since that he's so high on both Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. And with Sam Howell, you see all of the athletic ability that he has. Pritchard basically said, look, he has all the arm talent in the world. He can do all kinds of crazy things with a football in his hand, with his running or passing. And then with Jacoby, he said they're going to lean on him a lot, because of all of his experience. He's been around, not as much as Ryan Fitzpatrick or anything, but he's played in a few different teams now. So he's seen a lot of different. Yeah, exactly. So, I think he's basically going to be like a second coach out there in a lot of ways, especially with his desire to be such a good teammate. I think that's going to be very interesting. And I think also his, I asked him about the West Coast offense and what he really likes about it. And he basically that it allows for a lot of creativity and for players of a variety of skill sets, whether it's Toby Gerhardt, Christian McCaffrey, two very different running backs fundamentally, that allows them to succeed in a lot of ways. So I think honestly, the fact that they're going to be in such a player-friendly offense, Washington is, I think that bodes well for a lot of skilled players, not just Sam and Jacoby, but also for all the skill players, whether it's receiver, running back. I think it's gonna be very well suited for what they all do.
Yeah, totally agree. And speaking of the quarterback and all those weapons, obviously it's still early. We haven't even gotten to the draft yet, but just kind of projecting forward as it is right now, what do you kind of expect this offense to look like in come fall?
Well, so if you go by what these West Coast offenses run, it's a lot of quicker stuff. I think that really is going to play well into what Terry, what Curtis, and what Jahan do very well. I think they're all exceptional route runners who can get open pretty quickly. And I think that's really what's going to help them out a lot. Now, obviously, everyone always says, well, this West Coast offense under the Chiefs, they were a top 10 group, top 5 in some areas. And obviously you're going to look like that with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and, Tyreek Hill a couple of years ago and all those other crazy weapons. But I think you can look at some of the talent that Washington has. You can say that, well, they're not Hall of Famers like Pat Mahomes and Kelce. They're not just worlds away. They still got a lot of speed. They've got a lot of quickness. They got a lot of players that can get open really quickly. And I think that's really going to, like I said, it's going to play into Washington's strengths and allow them to really just lean on their players even more than they were able to do last year.
Yeah. And so, Selby, as you know, it's draft season. You know, it's coming up, and it's coming up fast.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that it's about that time.
Yeah, it's getting close. So Washington, of course, going in, I think everybody kind of expected an offensive lineman, a cornerback. But with the way that they've addressed things in free agency, they're not really handcuffed to just go one of those positions. What would you like to see them address going forward? Like, what kind of holes do you think that they have? Because it seems like a pretty full roster at this point. Like, they have a lot of talent.
And I think that's true. And I think, you know, my position and my honest opinion is, you know, obviously coach has not given me a text or anything to ask me what I want to do. But if he were, I would say, you know, I think offensive line is still a need on this team. Because I think, you know, offensive line is kind of like cornerbacks. You can't have enough good depth on the offensive line. And I think also like depth in the secondary is a big deal. I think those are two areas that were very, like, I think those are like, of all, and you mentioned it, like it's a solid roster, but I think those are the two areas that I think need the most help, specifically because with all the injuries that happened at corner last year, that really hurt them a lot whenever they couldn't rely on, you know, all due respect to Christian Holmes, like he's still got a lot to learn. As a semi is trying to bully me into merging into the other lane. Offensive line, for example, I mean, like they went through a little bit of the same situation, especially in the interior. With center and guard dealing with all those injuries. So I do really think they need to address one of those two positions. And I also believe that they're not, just because they need to address those positions does not necessarily mean that they have to. I think they've been in a position because of adding Cam Vance or because of adding Andrew Wiley and Nick Gates. I think they're in a position where they could, you know, do a lot of other things with that pick too. They could pick the best player available, because as you said, it is a very solid roster. But I also think though, like the players that are going to be available at 16 are the best players available at 16 are probably going to fit a lot of those two needs at corner and offensive line.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Zach. Now, my next question for you: April is a very hectic time for a lot of NFL draft prospects. That's why this episode is called April Showers, you know, May Flowers. And hopefully that comes into fruition, but it's also a big month for veterans in the NFL. Can you give us some names of guys that are coming back for workouts for Washington that is very important for them to be at their best?
Well, I'll tell you this. Next Monday is whenever the offseason workout program starts for Washington. So all the players are going to be back. You know, I would like to see what Jahan does. You know, I was talking today with Bobby Ingram. And I'll have some stories about that over the next few days as well. But he mentioned how he's really looking forward to seeing what Jahan does in this offseason to really build on the strong season that he had last year. Because, you know, he came into the league so polished in a lot of areas, whether it was route running, catching, just his overall mentality to the game. I think now what we need to see from him is like, what kind of jump is he going to take, right? Is he going to make, you know, more of a baby step, or is he going to take more of I'm going to elevate myself into the maybe like top 30 or so wide receivers in the league right now, with what I can do. I think it's one of the players I'm really looking forward to seeing. Some of these tight ends, I'm interested to see how they develop. Curtis Hodges is one, you know, we didn't really see him all that much last year because he was on IR. You know, but I think that's the guy they feel really happy about. Armani Rogers, another tight end, they feel like has a lot of really good intangibles. They're really high on him. So I think those three guys are just a few. But I think this offseason is going to be very critical for a lot of players on this team because it's a big year. There's no other way to put it.
Absolutely. Now, to wrap this up, Selby, we only have a couple more questions for you. But the Commanders' latest mock draft that was released this week featured Brian Branch being the pick at number 16. Kind of talk to us about Brian Branch and that selection.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're referring to the mock draft Monday, and that was actually a mock draft. Just so everyone knows, I've seen some people in the comments on Twitter mention like how they don't like our mock drafts. We don't make any mock drafts. We're highlighting someone else's mock drafts. So any complaints can take it to the authors of those mock drafts. But I like Brian Branch a lot. And I think taking a safety at 16 would be one of the most luxurious luxuries in all of luxurydom, if that's actually a word. But I do think he would definitely help a lot, right?
Fill that McCain role.
Was that?
He would fill that Bobby McCain role.
Sort of, yeah. I think he would, but I also think they feel pretty good about Percy Butler. I think he could probably fill that role as well. But I like how physical Brian Branch is. A couple things that I've really liked about him is he is not afraid at all to just shoot the pocket and basically just bowl over people to get to the quarterback. I love that out of a safety like that because you don't really see a lot of safeties do that as much, but I do like the fact that he is just out there just sacrificing his body and doing everything he needs to do to make a play. I think he has some very good man skills. I think he can play a little bit of the zone as well. But I'm interested to see how versatile he's going to be at the next level wherever he goes. Because I think if he does come here, for example, he's not just going to play, in that Bobby McCain role. He's going to play in a lot of different positions as well. Maybe some freeze, maybe it's the Buffalo nickel package. You're going to be doing a lot of things. So I'm interested to see how versatile he would be if Washington were to select him. But I do think even though safety is not necessarily a need for Washington, he could bring a lot of value because of how physical he is and how he just has a natural intelligence for the game. I think that's a very big skill he has.
I got you. Now my next question for you. Twitter, you talked about it earlier. A lot of people have been arguing over Bijan Robinson possibly being drafted by the Commanders at 16. Briefly, do you think that's a good idea?
No. I mean, let's be honest. We talked about the best player available, and Bijan Robinson is the best player at his position, by far in the draft. There's no denying that. But you have Antonio Gibson. You have Brian Robinson. The backfield you feel pretty good about. And you also got Jonathan Williams. And you've got a really good group of running backs, and you got to wonder it's at some point are you going to make Bijan Robinson your top running back? If that's the case, then what do you do with Brian Robinson? It creates some issues. Man, now granted they're good positions to have, good problems to have, but you could use that 16th pick for areas that you actually do need players in, offensive line, cornerback, linebacker, maybe, depending if you're just in love with Drew Sanders or one of these other top linebackers available. There are other positions that you could absolutely use to for a position that you need to improve your roster in other areas. So love Bijan. Hope he goes and becomes all world somewhere, but I really just have a hard time believing that Washington is going to be the team that takes him.
Okay, and I have to apologize in advance, but my last question for you is going to be a difficult one. I'm going to put you on the spot, Selby. What is more likely to happen at the pick at 16? Washington drafts a tight end, a linebacker, or a quarterback?
I would probably say out of those three, linebacker. Just because I think there's always national pundits out there who really think, all right, so you're really going to go with Sam Howell. I think they actually that's all that feeling is very genuine about Sam Howell. They really do think that he has a lot of intangibles that could really help them. Of course, he has to earn it, but I mean, it's funny. I've been on these conference calls with a lot of these these draft analysts, and they think that he would probably fall in Sam Howell if he were in the draft pool today. He'd fall somewhere in the area of Hendon Hooker. They talk about Hendon Hooker sort of being a flirty first round sort of guy. But I mean, I really do think that Sam Howell has a lot of ability, and I think they really want to at least give him a shot to earn that position. And tight end, look, I think outside of running back, that might be one of my least favorite positions for them to address, in my opinion, at 16. It's because they literally have 5 tight ends they all feel really good about. And now that's not to say that they won't do it, because there's a lot of really, really good tight ends in this class. And if you really want to talk about drafting the best player available, there might be one of those guys that falls to you, and you really think that there's no other player that's better at what they do than what maybe some of these other tight ends do. But I really think they want to give Logan an actual full offseason being healthy. I think they want to do that. They love John Bates. They love Cole Turner, and they really like the projects in Armani Rogers and Curtis Hodges. Like, it just becomes a wealth problem. Like, what are you going to do with all these players now? Like, you're putting yourself in a difficult position of trying to cut one of the players that you've admitted that you really like. So I think linebacker wouldn't be that bad of a pick for them at 16. It depends on who's there. I think, like I said, if you fall in love with Drew Sanders, who by all accounts is just, a really great run stop, can do a little bit of everything. He's been one of my favorites at the position, but I think that you could also address the linebacker position at day 2, day 3. But out of those 3, if you're going to take offensive line and cornerback off the board, I think linebacker, because it is a position in need, and you just take the best player that you can get there.
I can't thank you enough for your time as always, Selby. I hope you go and enjoy your day. I hope you got out of traffic, and the fact – actually, no, you know what? You're probably still in traffic. You haven't moved at all.
Look,
you haven't moved an inch.
This is the Beltway. I'm still here. I'm probably going to be in the traffic for another 30 minutes, honestly.
You should do that rap that dude did in Malibu's Most Wanted. That traffic.
Yeah,
looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of car sick. There's a Ford Maverick.
Yeah, totally see Selby doing that.
What a pull! That was amazing. I have not thought about that movie in so long.
Neither have I, but I got something wrong.
Bill Gluckman is down.
Down with witches and hoes.
Right. All right, Selby, have a good night, sir. I can't thank you enough. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, brother.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
You
Appreciate
too,
it, Selby.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Zach
Wait,
Selby.
Selby, what kind of car does Logan Paulson drive? Sorry. I thought he was
my man, Bill Gluckman.
I thought you already knew.
Gluckman. No, man. I told you, Logan's hiding from me. Dude.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He changed his address. Everything.
Just to let you guys know, I'm not sure if you're not already aware, but today is our first mock draft of the season.
Legs.
And this is with our other fans of the team who have submitted their videos in to make selections for us. So one by one, we're going down the list. Hall will start first, then Reed, and then myself, and then the fans will come. That'll come in a little bit, but before we get there, I do want to talk about some of these fan questions that were submitted into us. And this first one is from, the Colonel. The Colonel asks Reed, please discuss our situation at defensive end, specifically rumors of Montez Sweat being trade bait, allegedly with the Bears, and Chase Young not getting his 5th-year option extension. Is defensive end suddenly a priority for us in the draft?
I am under the impression that regardless, even if we're re-signing one of those guys, I still think defensive end is going to be a fairly high priority. Now, I don't necessarily think that they'll go defensive end round 1. I mean, they could, if somebody good falls, maybe they will, because you can't have enough pass rushers. But I do think that they are, like, if you look at last year they looked ahead for defensive tackle. They figured they were going to lose some guys. They might not be able to re-sign Daron Payne, so they went for Darian Mathis in round 2. It's kind of that way with defensive end this year with an edge rusher. It's like, and what's the worst case scenario? You end up re-signing both guys, and all of a sudden you have 3 really good edge rushers that can get off after the quarterback. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in today's pass-happy NFL. So I still think that no matter what, edge rusher is going to be fairly highly valued.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of it has to go with who's available when. Like, if they go with a cornerback in round 1, are they going to take a defensive end in the second round? Is like they need offensive help, right? And that's where I kind of see the issue arising with defensive end. But the Colonel, I will say this to your point about Chase Young. I talked about this earlier. I was on with Scott Hartley and Andy on the 1 Point Safety show at the UK Boys, and they kind of talked about Chase Young's 5th-year option. And I almost feel at this point, I've kind of flip-flopped, but at this point I feel like it has to happen. They have to pick up the 5th-year option just because of the way that every move that Rivera makes is met with vitriol and comparison to the previous regime and not drafting well, selecting players. It almost feels like they have to, by force, pick up the option for Chase Young because it's almost admitting that it was a mistake in a way. And I feel like for Chase Young, they don't want to rip that relationship. And I feel like they are confident in Chase, just like Chase is in them. So I feel like they are going to pick it up because they don't want to sever that relationship going into last year.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that with the Chase option or Chase Young option, 5th-year option. Would I be surprised if they didn't pick it up? No, because we've seen them go down this path with Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, and it worked out successful for them. So, I wouldn't be surprised, but I definitely think they will because, like you said, I think that they want to keep the relationship pretty strong. And, I mean, even Rivera said himself that it's going to be something that they talk about with the new owners or prospective new owners. too as well. So, yeah, I think they will. And then if Chase comes back this year, has a great year, and does what people think he can as far as like when he came in the league, has a bounce back year, then you still got him for another year as well, and then you can like kind of work out the contract then, and it'll help the salary cap going forward because you'll get him inked up sooner rather than later, and long-term deals help the salary cap out because you can spread the money out and whatnot. But yeah, what was the first half of the question again?
Would you be surprised because of the situation with the defense?
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think that defensive end, they re-signed Fa Obata. They really like him. I'm not sure about who was the fourth guy? The white dude.
Casey Toohill, he's not coming
AC
back.
Hill. Yeah. So yeah, I could definitely see them maybe going like third, fourth round, somewhere around that range, getting maybe the best defensive end on the board at that point.
Yeah, and now this next question is from the Discord chat server. Our guy Tim Towner. What was the best and worst day one of the draft that you remember? Just the experience that day. Everyone was happy when we drafted Heath Schuler. It wasn't until much later that we found out he sucked.
Man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
For me,
I think
it's the 2019 draft of Dwayne Haskins, to be perfectly honest with you.
yeah. I would say like without saying like hindsight, because obviously I think the easiest pick could be the Josh Doxson pick back when they took him in the first round. But again, him coming out of college, people were like, he's going to be a crazy like red zone threat. He's a good 50-50 guy, so that works good with our offense. He just never got on the field, and then he also sucked.
Still had
But
Jackson Garcon too, and it
right,
was
but
weird, made sense.
yeah, I would say Haskins, and it's not because like Haskins didn't really pan out. It's because reportedly, and it's been confirmed by numerous people, that was a Dan Snyder yacht
Right.
pick.
Nothing
That's not who
against
Jay
Dwayne.
Gruden.
Yeah, nothing
Exactly.
against Dwayne.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing against Dwayne. I wish he would have panned out and whatnot, but obviously we've seen over the past that whenever Dan Snyder jumps off the yacht from the top rope and makes a pick, it hardly ever works out, and that was just one of those another times.
Absolutely right.
Hold on, real fast. Another good one that pissed me off when it happened, but it ended up working out for us. So that just goes to show that the draft day of doesn't really mean anything. When we didn't draft Blaine Gabbert, I was pissed. I remember choking my little brother when he was next to me, like Homer Simpson style, being like, "God damn it," because I wanted Blaine Gabbert, baby. Ended up working out pretty well for us, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad that you were upset that day, to be perfectly honest.
Thank you.
Now, this next question from Tim Towner. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level that the Washington front office is going to make some boneheaded signing pick or trade during the summer? They have a recent history of Ryan Fitzpatrick, William Jackson III, Carson Wentz, and the O-line. Are they going to do something stupid and derail the offseason?
No, I don't think so, because if that was the case, they would have done it by now.
Scale 1 to 10.
1 to 10, probably like a 3. I mean, the only thing that could like really that you could call boneheaded if they do something going forward would be to give Jacoby Brissett more of this like the first team snaps than Sam Howell, and to like not be really grooming Sam Howell like they said they were going to, like the whole offseason plan and what the whole plan going into the season would be. But I feel like, I mean, if you want to call Lamar Jackson type of trade type of thing happening boneheaded, I mean, I feel like that would already came to fruition by now, or like there would have been reports out there, like actual reports, not just like the media trying to like shove them our way. But yeah, I'd probably say a 3, just because, like I said, I think that they're just focused on grooming Sam Howell, getting him all the reps, and the draft right now.
I'll say my concern level is a 7, but it's not in the terms of which you described, Tim. I think it's much more of them not making moves. And what I mean by that is I am concerned at a level of a 7 out of 10 in regards to them not signing Cam Curl to an extension before it gets into his contract year. And I know a lot of people have speculated on how much he's worth and all that. We have to remember that he's very young. 23, I think 22 years old, coming up to his contract year. That is valuable to a team on the open market looking for safety help. So I am concerned that they're not going to get a deal done before the contract year kicks off. So I'm hoping that comes through this offseason, Tim.
Yeah. Apparently I'm like a 4. That's what I was told the other day. But I think they meant out of 5 though, so that was pretty cool.
Good for you. Good for you. Now, this next question in the Discord chat server is from Yamstarch Hall. Straight up, are there any offensive tackles, guards, or linemen that are 100% worth it at 16 if we don't move or go to cornerback, linebacker at 16?
Yeah, I would say if Paris Johnson Jr. is there, I feel like he would be the number
I'm
one
with you,
lock
Hall.
for us to take.
I'm with you. Hell yeah.
Obviously, I mean,
I like him. I
I'll
like
take him.
Paris Johnson.
Yeah, I won't
don't
say
care.
the
I
second
don't.
guy because then Kyle will get extra pissed. So
Yeah.
I'll just stay with Paris Johnson Jr.
What did you say, Hall? I didn't hear what you said.
No, I was gonna say a second guy, but I was like, I don't want to say the second person because I think you're gonna say him, so I don't want you to like.
Are you going to say T-Rex arms? Are you going to say Skronsky?
Nah.
Oh,
I think-
Jones. Broderick Jones. That's what you're going to say. Yeah.
I was.
I'm
I
on
do
the Hall
think
train today, baby. Hell yeah.
I do think that there are guys I do think there's guys at 16 that I would absolutely love on the offensive line that everyone else would complain about, kind of like the Jahan Dotson pick. And that's DeJuan Jones, Darnell Wright, or Anton Harrison. Anton Harrison, in my opinion, is the best left tackle in this draft. If that's what you're looking for, that's what you go get. But he's kind of got like a late first, second round grade. Then DeJuan Jones being 6'8", having like 36, 37-inch arms is absolutely crucial in molding the identity of your offensive line. Because DeJuan Jones, not only is he being 6'8" and long, the dude also throws guys' heads into the dirt. He's ferocious. And typically when you have a big dude like that, they're kind of like teddy bears, not DeJuan Jones. He wants to come and run you over, and that's the kind of mindset that we need on the offensive line, to be perfectly honest. So, and then Darnell Wright whooped Will Anderson's ass, played in the SEC. Yes, he does have a little bit of questions here and there, but you're talking about somebody, the best lineman in this draft who has the highest floor out of anybody else. Darnell Wright has the highest floor, then Paris Johnson, then Broderick Jones, then Peter Skoronsky. All of them. It's Darnell Wright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll just go. I mean, I think if Skoronsky's there too, you could justify taking him just because I know the short arm scares people, but if you think you have a hole at left guard right now,
Typical whites.
and you could literally put him, I only want the white prospects. You can put him, you can put Skoronsky in there and feel it. All of a sudden, your O line is going to be really, really good with that going forward. The only thing is, do you want to put a first round pick on somebody that's going to end up playing guard? Worked out with Sheriff, but you can probably get some more talent there.
Yep. And now let's go rapid fire these last two questions from Twitter. This is from Tony Franchise Reed. I want to say I don't see this happening, but what if at 16 we draft Bijan Robinson and then move Gibby to wide receiver / running back and use him as our Swiss Army knife? In the meantime, we could release Curtis and save 10 mil.
I don't like it. I don't want to release Curtis. I don't want to give up on him. I want one more year of him. But no, I could. It's cool.
It is a good idea. The one issue that I do have is that we have a very good wide receiver group, and we have a young man that was a third-round pick in Diami Brown who has struggled to be able to get enough snaps to be productive to showcase his progression and production and his success. So I feel like adding Gibby and pushing him in there would even more so do that to Diami Brown. And Curtis, I understand the saving of money with Curtis, but at this point, would you feel comfortable with letting Curtis go, knowing how pivotal he was on third downs in the red zone being utilized? I think that's somebody that Eric Bieniemy is licking his chops looking at with AG. Being able to use both of them at the same time is something that not many defenses can be able to do.
Yeah, two chess pieces. You can move all over the place.
Look, Bijan Robinson, I would understand the pick at 16. I get it. You need good players. He's going to help you in points per game. It's just
There's scouts out there apparently saying that Bijan Robinson's a gold jacket guy. He's like
they said the same thing about Saquon, and we see how
Saquon's been fucking awesome though. Saquon until he got injured.
Yeah, but he hasn't been gold
really
jacket worthy so far
because he got injured. Right. Saquon before that, Saquon was
part of the game.
I know. Hey, that's why I don't agree with taking running backs that early. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but
what do you think?
Yeah. I'm pretty much in the same kind of like wavelength as you. I think that you keep Gibson and you keep Curtis Samuel because I think that Eric Bieniemy can get you can still use Antonio Gibson as kind of that chess piece or that kind of Swiss Army knife on the field as well. And if you got Curtis Samuel, Terry, and Antonio Gibson all spread out on the offense, like as a wide receiver, you got Brian Robinson in the backfield, or you can swap out Curtis Samuel in the slot or Gibson in the slot, Curtis Samuel in the backfield. And if they're going to be, like you said, implementing the West Coast offense like Selby's talking about, like Eric Bieniemy runs, then that quick game, the screens, you're going to want to have a guy that can get open quick, kind of like Curtis Samuel can. And Yeah, like I said, I like a lot of speed on the field. I like guys that create mismatches, and Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson on the field at the same time. I feel like with Eric Bieniemy could be a great mismatch for the defense and advantage for us.
Yep, and now this next question is from our guy Scoot on Twitter. Scoot! His
Skater.
question is, Reed, what are your predictions for the receiving core this year?
But, like stats wise.
Yeah, just what are your feeling on? Do you think they're going to do better than last year? Go worse? What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think that they should. It's going to be hard. I mean, obviously being in a new offense with a new quarterback, but I've got faith in Sam Howell, man. I don't know why, but it feels good. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this wide receiver core, I mean, you got to expect Jahan Dotson to take another step. So on paper, I mean, just the optimist in me, which is always bad. I'm gonna say, yeah, they're gonna be better. All of them are gonna go over fucking 2,000 yards, so that's gonna be sick.
I do think that they're going to have a productive year, but not in the same way that they had this year, Scoot. I do expect their receptions to go up, but I do think their yardage is going to go down, and also the touchdowns are going to go down. But overall, they're still going to be incredibly productive, and the reason I say that is just the change of philosophy with the offense. Very much so is the quick game, more closer to the line of scrimmage, allowing the running backs and other tight ends to be able to get those red zone targets and abilities. But I do think that they are going to be highly targeted and used. It's just how good is Sam Howell going to be in connecting them downfield? That is the big question.
Yeah, I think that if anybody's receptions goes up, it's going to be Terry, just because like we've seen in Kansas City when Tyreek Hill was there, he was the best player on the field. The offense runs through him. Travis Kelsey, he's the best player, runs through him, so on and so forth. Even going back to Bill Walsh with Jerry Rice, he's the best player on the field. You run the offense through Jerry Rice. But even back in the 90s when passing wasn't crazy. But anyway, I think that Terry's receptions go up, and I think that the yak goes up just because, like you said, the West Coast offense, the short game, the quick game. Then they're going to try to get the ball of Sam Howell's hands quickly, which, like I said, is going to create more yak for the offense. And with all the speed that we have on the field, I feel like they're just going to have Sam kind of play that point guard role, just distribute the ball out, let the guys do the rest.
All right, guys, it is time. Our first mock draft of the season. And so we start this, we got to go ladies first. So, Hall, you're going to start us off. Number 1, first overall of the NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select.
They are going to go with Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. Frank Reich likes the kind of bigger, stand tall in the pocket quarterbacks, and that is C.J. Stroud. And I think that he puts them in a position maybe to possibly compete for that division next year. Or this
That's
year,
been
whatever you wanna call it.
speculated a lot by people. That is one heck of a start to this draft. Now, the second overall is Reed with the Houston Texans. Who are they taking?
They're going to take Alabama quarterback Bryce Young, and if he was a little bit taller, he probably would have been that first overall pick to the Panthers. He's a little small, and that is concerning. I mean, he's literally Kyler Murray's height and a little bit lighter than him. But dude, they're going to be happy with Bryce Young going forward. They got the best quarterback in this draft, IMO, in my opinion.
Yep, and number 3 overall, that is the Arizona Cardinals. I have them selecting Alabama defensive end Will Anderson, probably the best player speculate in the draft. The Arizona Cardinals have some very good quarterbacks in their division. Obviously, Geno Smith just got extended. They also are in the 49ers division, and they're going to have to be able to get after the quarterback. They're going to be able to do that with Will Anderson, changing the identity of their defense, coupling him in with Isaiah Simmons, with other guys like Zaven Collins, linebacker. This is going to be very good for their defense, turning that into a weapon instead of it just being purely offense. Will Anderson to the Cardinals. Now the 4th overall. So far we have C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Anderson off the board. The 4th overall is our first.
This is where it starts to get interesting too.
First fan selection of the draft. This one is from our guy, Scott Hartley in the UK. Oi! Let's see who Scott has. Oh my goodness. And now, of course, I forgot. The Colts selecting 4th overall. This has got off to a horrible start.
No. Hi, guys. Scott Hartley here. And with the 4th pick in the Burgundy Zone mock draft for 2023, the Indianapolis Colts select quarterback Anthony Richardson out of Florida. They get their signal caller for the future. Quite risky pick. Obviously, great arm strength, good running ability, but we will see. Very raw talent, very raw prospect. Might have to sit a year, but they get their guy for the future. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Scott, for making the first selection in our draft. Anthony Richardson going to the Colts. Wow. Leapfrog, that is going to be explosive. That would make a lot of sense for Jim Irsay, just to be perfectly honest with you. Now, Hall, you're going to start us off with this next pick. The Seattle Seahawks. Thank you, Scott. That was a great pick. Seattle Seahawks. Who are they selecting at pick number 5?
Yeah, Pete Carroll. We didn't do trade ups, and it was been reported that Seahawks wanted a quarterback. I think they pass on Will Levis. I think they wanted Richardson. They pass on Levis, and they go Tyree Wilson. Pete Carroll loves defense. He loves defensive ends. Wilson is had a crazy year coming out of Texas Tech last year, and I think he comes in and adds to their defense right away.
And that's a good selection. The Seahawks do like their edge rushers. Next selection, number 6, the Detroit Lions. Who is unfortunately headed up to Detroit?
Unfortunately, man, they are building something special out there. And I'll tell you what, this guy might have the most problems in the draft, but he's also one of the best players in the draft, and that's Jalen Carter. They add Jalen Carter to that defensive line that already has Aiden Hutchinson. This defense slowly is getting better. It's getting younger. They're building something really good up in Detroit, man. I still think that they're a legit quarterback away, but they're still building that roster. They're going to get some more good years out of Jared Goff, and Jalen Carter's only going to help this team.
Yep.
Does he bite ankles? That's the question.
Does he bite ankles?
Kneecaps.
Yes.
Kneecaps. Sorry, kneecaps. Does he bite
kneecaps?
kneecaps?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and speaking of kneecaps, let's move on to number 7.
He also embraces friends.
Las Vegas Raiders. I have them selecting quarterback out of Kentucky, Will Levis. Obviously, they just signed Jimmy Garoppolo. They have Brian Hoyer, but they need a future quarterback involved. They need some stability on that offense because Jimmy Garoppolo, with his injury history, that always brings up that issue. I think that is a perfect situation for Will Levis to go into, able to sit back, learn from Jimmy, get the minute details of the offense, and then step in when he's ready just in case of emergency. Will Levis to the Raiders. Now the next pick is selected by, which is the Falcons, by our guy, Mike Puckett, who is, I think, up to New York right now. But he makes this selection, and I wish you guys heard this because it's hilarious.
With the number 8 pick, the Atlanta Falcons choose Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon. Atlanta Falcons are in need of all the defensive help they can get, being bottom 3rd in the league in almost every defensive category last season. Let's go Falcons, rise up.
We're going to catch on, so I was going to
Rise up, apparently, says Mike Puckett, which is absolutely hysterical. He has the Falcons selecting my guy, Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon. I'm pissed off about that pick. I told him I didn't like it when he made it. It's a good pick for the Falcons. I don't like it because I love Christian Gonzalez. Now, this next pick, number 9, let's go with the Bears. Let's go to Chicago. Hall, who are they selecting?
They are selecting some help for Justin Fields up front. They're going to get a guy that's going to stay in Chicago out of Northwestern, Peter Skoronski.
I got such little arms. Yeah, Peter Skoronski goes to the Chicago Bears. They definitely do need the help up front. Next selection is by the Philadelphia Eagles. Boo.
Ooh, the Philadelphia Eagles get a guy with a lot of potential. A lot of people are high on. He's flying up draft boards. That is Lucas Van Ness. They get another edge rusher to add to that defense. I wanted to take Skoronski there because after losing Ciamolo, I think that they will address guard. But hey, they get a pass rusher. There's nothing more important than that. And also, this Eagles team just keeps getting better, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then the next selection is by the Tennessee Titans. And I have them because I feel like, and I didn't know this, but apparently Tennessee opened up a casino down there because they love gambling on offensive linemen. So I have them selecting Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle/guard out of Ohio State, going to the Titans. They need a lot of help. Obviously, they drafted a tackle in the first round a couple years ago. He didn't pan out. They need some help on the offensive line, so they're going to go with Paris Johnson Jr. Now, number 12 is by the Houston Texans, and our guy, Mr. Tim Towner, is coming out of the woodwork to be able to make this selection. So who are the Texans taking at 12, Tim?
With the 12th selection in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver, the Ohio State University.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that to me. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, brother. Tim selected Jackson Smith-Njigba. Njigba, my bad.
I don't think the guy's in the draft that you just named.
Shut up. Wide receiver from Ohio State.
Watch your mouth, Kyle.
The first wide receiver selected in this draft over Quinton Johnson, which I honestly think that could happen. So great selection by Tim Towner there.
Adding him with Bryce Young's huge.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know ahead of time, this 13th pick by the New York Jets, this pick pissed me off. I just want to let you go. So, Hall, make it.
That's what I do. I piss Kyle off for a living. Jets, they're going to make the trade for Aaron Rodgers at some point during this offseason. Got to get some linemen in there to block for him up front. They go. Who did I pick? Darnell Wright out of Tennessee.
Who did you pick?
Baller.
Absolutely great pick by the Jets. That would really help their offensive line. Now, this next pick is by the New England Patriots. Who is Bill Belichick spying on, Reed, and who is he going to select?
He's going to select an offensive tackle who can also slide in and play guard if need be. But they've had a thing for some undersized tackles as of late, especially at left tackle. They're going to go Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Some people feel he's the best tackle in the class. He's got a lot of potential, man, and old Bill Belichick gets a good one out there.
Yeah, he does. He usually does make good selections. Now, this next pick, number 15.
Unless you're a wide receiver.
The Green Bay
or
Packers.
Yeah.
I have the
Or
Packers
any other
selecting.
position on offense.
I have the Packers selecting TCU wide receiver Quinston Johnson. Obviously, they lack in talent on the outside. They need some more help. I think Quinston Johnson would be the absolute best option available for them in the first round to slide in and be productive right away. Now,
Hell yeah, brother.
This next one is from our next selection is Andy, number 16 for the Commanders, like I forgot about it. And I told Andy, do not screw this up. We need this badly. The Commanders at pick 16. What has he got us doing?
Hi guys, this is Andy Lockhart here from the 1 Point Safety Show, and I have been given the honour of picking the Commanders' first round draft pick at number 16. So, with the 16th pick of the NFL 2023 draft, the Washington Commanders select Devin Witherspoon, Illinois, baby. Woo! Great player. Perfect for our zone scheme that Del Rio likes to play and also likes to lay the wood. God love cornerbacks like this.
All right, thank you, Andy. So Andy selected the Commanders taking Devin Witherspoon at 16. Just real quick, what do you guys think about the move, Reed?
Tremendous. So a lot of guys say the best move they could have made.
I really enjoyed the pick. I think this is a really good situation for Washington to walk into because he's very versatile. He can move all over the field. And given with where their DB situation is right now, you need to be able to have an interchangeable piece that can help you, let's say, off the ball or in the slot or outside if need be. And Devin Witherspoon obviously notches all those. He's good. He's a ball hawk, and he is not afraid of coming up and making a big hit in the run. So I feel like that is a very, very good pick for the Commanders, and not one that Rivera usually makes. This is the first time he's drafted a cornerback in round one.
Highest graded PFF corner this past year, too, in college football. So I'm just saying.
He got that dog in him.
Hell
And
yeah.
now let's go to number 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you have them taking, Hall?
We are going to go with the first at his position taken off the board. Kenny Pickett, Kenny Small Hands, got a little nice relief valve and nice player that's going to work for him over the middle, and they're going to take a tight end in Dallas Kincaid out of Utah.
Dalton
Kincaid. Sorry, I was looking at
You're
my
always
phone.
thinking about Cowboys.
See, it's not just a white thing, dude.
It's a Brokeback Mountain thing, my guy.
No, it's not. Now, this next selection
it's just
number.
two guys having sex with each other. That movie's terrible.
Now, Reed, we're now on to the Detroit Lions, their second selection in the first round. Who is Detroit taking?
Hey, they took Jalen Carter with their first pick. They're going to get even more talent on the other side of the ball to help out with that offense. And they're going to take, Frederick's own Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC by way of Pittsburgh. Dude went to school down the street from me. He's a beast. He can come in there. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're very similar players. And they're going to get explosive out there in Detroit, brother. Watch out.
And they have Jamison Williams to add that to it.
And they
obviously, that would help them out a lot, which was
yeah.
slam dunk move.
So much speed.
Next selection, number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have them selecting local boy, guy that we went to same high school
From
as
Damascus,
us,
yeah.
Brian Breesy, the defensive tackle from Clemson, going to the
number
Tampa
one
Bay
rated
Buccaneers.
recruit in the class of 2020.
Yeah, he is a disruptive force. This is a very athletic dude. I watched him
He's
go
a
against watched him go against my little brother in high school, and it was kind of disrespectful what he was doing to my brother's teammates on the field that day. Luckily, my brother only matched up against him a couple times, but Brian Breesy is legit. He is made to be in the professionals, and he is somebody you can sit in that middle of your defense and know that he's going to get after the quarterback, and he's also going to defend the run well. So Brian Breesy to the Buccaneers.
Also, he bullied me when he was in high school, even though he's 12 years younger than me. That's how much of an alpha this guy is.
Totally get it. Now, number 20. Let's move to our guy, Steve Manila from Pro Football Focus. Who does he have? And number 20, the Seahawks selecting.
What's up, guys? With the 20th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select defensive tackle Kalijah Kancey out of Pitt.
Yeah, Kalijah Kancey is going to the Seahawks. This is a name that I have not heard a lot about, but obviously Steve Manila knows something that we don't.
He's rising up draft boards a lot.
Yeah. So very good job by Steve Manila. Obviously from Pro Football Focus, you know that he's going to come out banging. Just like, and speaking of banging, number 21, Hall, you got us selecting for the LA Chargers.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people on Twitter and Redskin or Commanders Nation banging their heads on the table because they passed on Bijan Robinson at 16, and you know who's going to get him? The Chargers. The Chargers. Go Chargers, go.
Getting Bijan would make a lot of sense with Eckler leaving after
that.
Then
they piss off Austin Eckler, and they end up trading him during the draft on day 2. Bang, bang. Holstradamus.
See, I told you, speaking of banging, bang, bang. Now, this 22, Reed. Who do the Ravens select at 22nd?
The Baltimore Ravens are going to piss off their number one rival with this selection, and that is because they're going to select Joey Porter Jr., who just seems like the Ravens quarterback that you've seen over these last 10 years or so. Big, athletic, can get the job done, and Joey Porter Sr. is literally going to disown Joey Porter Jr. after this for playing for his arch rival.
Absolutely. Next selection is the Vikings sitting at 23. They just lost Adam Thielen in the offseason, went to Carolina. I have them selecting Zay Flowers out of Boston College. He has fallen down the draft board, but based on where they are at the moment, this is the best option available for them to be able to add to that plethora on offense. Kevin O'Connell being offensive-minded, we can worry about defense later. Get me another wide receiver, and he gets Zay Flowers out of Boston College. Somebody, if he goes to a better situation, might get more production out of. Now, let's move on to our last 24. We'll go to the Colonel, who has the Jaguars, and it's a very, very good one. Let's go to the Colonel at 24.
Let's talk about Jacksonville at the 26th pick. Look, they brought in Trevor Lawrence. They stole Brandon Scherf from us. The top guard in the draft, Osiris Torrance. They say he's got a powerhouse frame with enormous hands. Good length for a guard, carries his weight incredibly well. Brick wall, regardless of what pass rushers give him. High energy player who will punish lazy defenders when they slow down. I think this is what Jacksonville's brand is right now, and they, of course, want to protect Trevor Lawrence. Keep it up, guys.
All right, and the Colonel has the, oh my goodness, I'm all over the place. The Jaguars selecting Osiris Torrance at 24.
Colonel, I love you too.
He's awesome. And Osiris Torrance, obviously a very good guard.
And then
he's
Sheriff on the inside, 2 bullies.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense
protecting
for the Jaguars.
Protecting their blonde maiden, Trevor Lawrence back there, his blonde damsel in distress. Yeah.
Hall, start us off.
Just a Princess Peach behind two. What's his name? What's the fucking bad guy from Mario? Yeah, behind a couple Bowsers. Yeah, Princess Peach back there, brother.
All right, Hall, start
Italian
us off.
plumber coming to save this guy.
Start us off at 25, Hall, before Reed starts talking again. Who do you have the Giants selecting at 25?
I'm mad I made this pick for the Giants because I think it's a great pickup for them. Obviously, they need wide receiver help. And if you've noticed the theme of my draft so far, I love these Tennessee boys. Going with Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee.
Good selection. Tennessee, you see him fly all over the field. Really is a very good athlete. Yep. Next one is the Dulles Cowgirls. Who you got them selecting, Reed?
It's a big need for them. And they're going to go with, your body is a wonderland. Michael Mayer, tight end. out of Notre Dame, and they replaced Dalton Schultz with a guy with more upside, possibly more upside, even though Dalton Schultz is no slouch. And I hate it, and I hope that Jerry Jones burns in hell.
Now at 27, the Buffalo Bills. I have them selecting Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks, pairing him up with Tre'Davious White. This is exactly what the AFC needs. They have a bunch of quarterbacks, very good talent at the wide receiver position. Adding to that other cornerback room is going to be pivotal for the Buffalo Bills. Honestly, I feel like their best selection possible would be if Anthony Richardson fell this far. I feel like that's the best case scenario for him and them, but for this at
Bills?
this point, Deontay Banks.
Why Anthony Richardson on the Bills?
Because he needs time to develop, and if he goes to a
What's
quarterback,
he gonna do? Develop for 15 years behind Josh Allen?
Well, no, in
Allen's
case of
only been playing for
emergency,
5
in case of
years.
injury, in case of emergency
Well, it's also
situation.
impossible that he goes at 26. So.
Yeah.
But the reason being is that he fits exactly what Josh Allen has, and if he goes in a quarterback-centric offense,
Yeah, but you don't take a first-round pick just in case your star quarterback gets injured.
What are they? The Green Bay Packers?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Because Brett Favre was retiring, Aaron Rodgers was getting ready to leave.
I was just talking about Jordan Love.
No, I'm just talking in general. You got to have an emergency quarterback. They need it. Well, I think their backup is
Damn
like
it, Kyle.
Cal Allen or something right now. But no, let's go to our next fan question. And this one actually did
I
piss
like
me
this
off.
one.
This one did
I like
piss me
this
off
one.
a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Let's go to Jeff Miles. Let's go out to Texas to see who he's gonna have the Bengals selecting.
What's up, y'all? It is Jeff, aka Hefe, and I'm here to announce the 28th pick that goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. And with the 28th pick in the 2023 draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Sidney Brown, Illinois. I believe this is a great pick considering they lost Jesse Bates this offseason, and the AFC is loaded with offensive potential. They're going to need some defensive help.
And thank you, Jeff Miles. He selects Sidney Brown, the nickel/safety from Illinois, going to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's such a good selection.
So
we were just
athletic,
talking
so
about it. We were
sneaky.
hoping that he would fall to us.
Yeah.
I can see him being
Great
being the first safety off the board, actually, because it's one of those things that happens every draft. Nobody's really talking about going there, and at the end of the first round, somebody who's blown up workouts like that and who can do multiple things for you. NFL evaluators like Sidney Brown. So
Yep, absolutely. Now Hall start us off the last 3 picks. It's crazy to me that there's not 32 picks in this draft. I keep forgetting that the Dolphins got one taken away from them. So Hall, start us off at 29. The New Orleans Saints. Who are they selecting?
Yeah, like I said, there's a theme behind my draft today, or the other day when we did it. Another Tennessee boy. They're going to go with the heir apparent to Derek Carr. Let him sit for a year, maybe 2, whatever, depending on how Derek Carr shakes out in New Orleans this year. They're going to go with Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee.
Yeah, and it's probably one of my favorite picks in this draft, to be perfectly honest. I think that's a good situation for Hendon Hooker to walk into. Now, let's go to the Eagles, unfortunately, sitting at 30, Reed. So who are the Philadelphia Turd Eaters eating?
Yeah, remember, I still think the Eagles are going to end up addressing the offensive line, but right here, they're going to address the secondary. They lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and they're going to end up going Brian Branch, somebody that can come up, play in the nickel. He can drop back, play safety. He's physical. He's somebody who I wouldn't mind the Commanders taking, and I think that the Eagles, the rich get richer. Awesome, cool. Can they have a plane crash or something, please?
Goodness. The last selection of the first round is by the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, and I have them possibly making the best pick in this draft. Anton Harrison, the left tackle from Oklahoma. Obviously, they lost Orlando Brown, who was playing left tackle for them. They could go with DeJuan Jones, whose comp is a lot like Orlando Brown's, but they need a left tackle. And can you trust DeJuan Jones to do that? You cannot. That's why you go with Anton Harrison, who is, in my opinion, the best left tackle in this draft. Shore up the blind side for Patrick Mahomes and getting quality out of that last selection in the first round.
The thing I like about DeJuan Jones more than Orlando Brown is DeJuan Jones knows he's a right tackle and isn't going to force a team to make him play left tackle like Orlando Brown's done. That dude should still be playing right tackle. Let's be real. But nope, forced his way out of Baltimore because of it, And then the ultimate bag fumble of all time, by the way. He could have been the highest paid offensive tackle in NFL history, and then he fumbled that bag, and now he just got an average deal from the Bengals.
Good job. I didn't
It's
know
a
that you cared
blunder.
all
It
that
is.
much
Look
about
into
him.
it.
Yeah, it is.
Kyle,
No, it is.
Look into it.
I was just thinking like, damn, he went from Lamar Jackson to Mahomes to like now Joe Burrow. Like,
No, that's
Hey.
tight. Yeah, that's sick. That's
Dude,
that's pretty.
but yeah,
impressive.
now he
Great
definitely fumbled the bag.
He's also like $100 million debt from what he could have been, but hey, go for it. Whatever.
Go
do
for
you,
it, baby.
dog.
Thank you to everybody for your contributions to this for our first of this mock. We're going to be doing these on each Thursday. So if you'd like to be included in our next mock draft next week, make sure you reach out to us Facebook Messenger, Twitter, DM, or on Instagram. You can find us at the Burgundy Zone. Just reach out to us. Let us know, and we'll give you everything that we need. We'll tell you what we need from you, and we'll get that done for Thursday's show to be able to highlight and make a pick.
You
and
have to send Kyle a dick pic in order to get into
we'll also
so send
we'll
it to
also
him.
change around the draft order, and just do not fall for it. Reed also has access to it, so it's not for me, it's for him.
Oops.
Oops.
Don't put my plots out there, dog. What the hell?
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. We'll try to make sure the next mock draft flows much better because I was all over the place today. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up. I'm Kyle.
I have access, but I will not be checking those pictures or messages. So I'm Hall.
If you want me to beat Hall's ass, give me a hell yeah. Whiskey, tequila, vodka, or whiskey. Not Bud Light.
What?
That was good. That was good. You haven't had a good one in a while. That was good.
Stone Cold's like, it's Miller time.
All right, everybody.
If you want me to drink Miller, give me a hell yeah.
We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great, safe weekend, everybody. Really do appreciate you've made it this far. You're a champion. We'll see you guys on Monday. Washington football. Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!